What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse McFarlane Collector Edition 2-pack of the Grim Knight versus Killer Croc. So this is a cool 2-pack, getting the Grim Knight once again. Actually, both these figures, we've had them both already, just different forms here. So we have Grim Knight, which is going to be very similar. We'll have to compare it to the other one, see how much they changed or whatnot. But he does look really cool there. Just a more, I guess you say, evil version of Batman that uses guns. So cool for him, as well as Killer Croc. So we've had this Killer Croc before. They just repainted him more into classic colors, wearing almost like blue jean material, as well as being all green like a crocodile, so that looks pretty cool as well. Excited for both that. Of course, this is from the Dark Multiverse storyline, so that's where Grim Knight comes from, and then Killer Croc did appear in that storyline as well, and I'll let you know that small detail, but looks pretty cool for this 2-pack that I'm excited to check out. So let me get them open out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with the Grim Knight, who of course is still Bruce Wayne. He had a similar life to the Prime Earth Bruce Wayne until the murder of his parents, when Joe Chill dropped his gun and Bruce picked it up and shot Joe. He would then spend several years traveling the world, learning the ways to fight and kill from assassins and mercenaries, becoming Batman to wage war on crime. He was then recruited by the Batman Who Laughs to serve as his second in command. So he looks cool here. Of course, we have had Grim Knight before, so nothing really new or surprising. There's just some minor color differences that we'll look at, and then of course like different head and stuff, but it still looks good. So we have Batman just all armored up and carrying guns this time, so it's cool that he has like these utility belts, or like, you know, belts and straps with all the ammo and guns and other weapons and everything strapped on him there, but underneath it's still Batman, just wearing more of like cloth material instead of his typical smoother suits. We still get the cowl on his head though, still looks good, and we get a nice gritted teeth face there, which looks good. And I like the lighter gray, sort of like matte gray that's all over him, with the silver bat logo on his chest. Like I said, all those bandoliers and straps, so we get guns and holsters, like I said, all sorts of pockets and tactical stuff, just everything going around there on him. Looks good. Still has the gauntlets on the side with the spikes as well, and gloves. Tactical pants come down as well, so again, straps and stuff holding there on his legs. Some knee pads with the bat logos on them, all the way down to the boots, so normal like tactical boots, but still have like the spikes on the side of them as well, so it's nice that they incorporate those different things into them. So just looks really cool for this version of Grim Knight. But movement-wise, the head will twist all the way around. Can look down that far and up that far, so not a whole lot of range, especially because of the color there around his neck. Shoulders up to 90 with the butterfly just a little back and forth, and rotate all the way around. Get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up that far. Get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and flex back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch. So the upper ab crunch is kind of hidden behind all this stuff, but it does crunch there, and you should be able to twist around the area as well. But we get a crunch at the waist as well, a little back and forth. And it should twist, but it's hard to really get it to hold on and twist there. It just moves a little back and forth, but the hips will come up that far. That's as far as I can get them, so about 45 out to the side there as well. Just a little bit of thigh twist up in there. Then the double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to the back, which isn't too bad. And then down to the foot will rock back and forth. Of course, twist side to side, and has the toe joint on the end. So nothing new or unexpected there, and especially with all the armor and stuff, you know, it doesn't really move the best overall. And then for accessories, comes with everything the last one came with as well. So we get the piece that goes into his back that has a bunch of guns, so a bunch of like rifles and stuff. They're all strapped together, can attach into his back, so we get a peg that'll peg in there. So you can peg in his back like that. Just I like to have the weapons up because it looks more like wings or something coming over more. You could twist it down if you want, so it's a little less noticeable, but you have those sticking off of his back. And then we get actual weapons that we can give to him. So we get like a little Uzi gun here, which looks nice. So we can put this into his hand, so he can hold on to that gun there. And then we also get the grenade launcher. So it looks pretty nice with the rounded barrel and everything. So that looks cool. We can put this in his other hand, so he can hold both of his guns. Of course, we just have him holding one gun, whatever we want to do there. But those are the exact same guns he came with last time as well. And of course, we get a base. We'll put him on just because he's holding all those guns and stuff. Makes him a little heavy, so we'll go ahead and put him on there just to keep him stable. And so you can see the difference with the older Grim Knight. So there's that one. So like I said, they did change up the colors. Of course, like the straps has like brown on it now, which I do really like. And it went from more of like a black to like this matte gray sort of color. So there's some color difference there. And of course, switching up the heads, where this one has the gritted teeth as opposed to the closed teeth. And I think they changed some of the gun color as well. They're both black, just this one's more of a matte black, where this has a little bit of shine to it, so it's got more of a little bit of gray tint to it and everything. But everything else is about the same. Like I said, just switched up some of the colors. You can see the color different variations like as going through there and stuff, but otherwise it's going to be the exact same figure. And then we get his cards, so nice card design there for the McFarlane Collector Edition. Looks pretty good. Nice card design. Stand on the Batman Who Laughs statue there. Looks really cool. And then we get his story on the back, of course, still being Bruce Wayne. And it says, ripped from Batman's greatest nightmare, nightmares. The Grim Knight is the world's most dangerous vigilante, unafraid to use any weapons and to go at any lengths to stop those he deems worthy of death. Armed with the finest arsenal Wayne money can buy, he's now one of the deadliest Dark Knights in existence, second only to the Batman Who Laughs. So there's a good explanation for his backstory there. And overall, a pretty cool figure. Like I said, definitely not necessary since we've had the other Grim Knight, but I do think I like this one a little bit more, so I do prefer this one. And in this 2-pack, we also got Killer Croc, also known as Waylon Jones. Now, there wasn't a whole lot to him. All I did find was that for the Dark Multiverse, there was a storyline where, of course, Killer Croc is a Gotham City criminal that is killed by the Grim Knight during his first years as a mass vigilante. So that's all it really mentioned that I saw, is that he is killed along with a bunch of other villains in Batman's like Rogues Gallery. But looks pretty cool. Now, of course, we have had pretty much this Killer Croc already with the Arkham version or whatever from the Arkham games. And I thought this was pretty much just complete reuse, just changed up the colors, change his pants color, change the body color to more of this green, but they did change more than I expected. There is still a lot of reuse, but it looks like, so from the whole like ab crunch up, everything is new, and then like the pants, they sort of switched up because it's now got the torn up pants and you get some leg design and stuff there, so that's all new, but everything else seems pretty much reused. So the feet, probably the leg sections in through here is all reused, the arms are all reused except for they took like the wrappings and stuff off of here, so it seems more smooth and everything, but everything else looks about exactly the same. So we get a different head design, different chest plates. You'll notice it like in the chest section here with like smaller size, and then we get different like back spines and stuff. So there's enough different about it that I do really like this, and really happy that we did decide to get this pack because it does vary it up enough, and this looks much more like the Killer Croc I would prefer to have. Now, moon-wise, the head will twist all the way around. Of course, it's going to be hard with the little head on the big body there, but twist around, look down that far, and up just about that far. So not too bad. And by the way, speaking of the look, like, look at his eyes, like how creepy they look in there. They look yellowish with the black, like, pupils, and of course the big mouth with all the teeth, the little ears on the side, and all his alligator-like skin and stuff, or crocodile, I guess you'd say. So looks good overall there. And then the shoulders will come up, of course, with his spiky skin. I'm surprised it even goes up there to 90 and rotates around. We get the single elbow joint that bends only to 90 there, but does have rotation. Of course, real stiff, but there is rotation in that as well. So yeah, like I said, real stiff, but it does twist around. And then we go to the wrist, that'll twist all the way around and flex back and forth. And then we go to his ab crunch, so we get the upper ab crunch, that'll crunch back and forth a little and twist all the way around. And then the lower crunch, which will crunch back and forth a little and twist around there. Then we get the hips that come up to 90 and out to the side. He can do the splits, get a little bit of a thigh twist in there. Then the double knee joint, that'll bend to the back. A little stiff there, we can bend up that far to the back, and then down to the foot, rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So pretty good movements overall. I actually think he has a little bit, besides like, not having a double elbow joint or anything, but moves a little bit better than Grim Knight, which is kind of surprising. But accessory wise, the only thing he comes with is a base, so nothing really to go along with him. So we can put him on that, although he has big feet and everything, so don't really need it. He's not like the easiest to get to stand up. His legs are starting to split and everything, but we can get him there. But as I mentioned, we've had the other Killer Croc, so from the Arkham game, so there's that one. And like I said, there is a difference. You can see like with the heads, especially the difference. A lot of similarities though, but they are different. Like I said, they switch out the chest. So this one has this much more like thinner design, where this one's much broader. So you can see the difference. And like I said, along the chest in here, you can tell that's different. But like I said, a lot of the everything else I point out is reuse. But like I said, switching up down towards the feet, because he had like the ankle shackles and stuff like that, and the pant legs all the way down. So there is difference. And like I said, with enough difference, this is the Killer Croc I'd prefer. So I'm really happy to get this pack just for this Killer Croc. And of course, he comes with his cards. So there's nice picture design for him fighting some characters like Bane and stuff, Batman there in the background. So all looks cool there. And of course, get his story on the back. And it says, born with a rare mutation that made his skin green and scaly and grew his body to grotesque proportions, Waylon Jones was raised by an abusive aunt and bullied relentlessly for his appearance. He briefly worked as a carnival freak under the name Killer Croc, but his misanthropy grew, as did his bestial nature, pushing him to a life of crime. As his physical condition and mental state deteriorated, Killer Croc becomes a more bestial foe, increasingly detached from humanity. So there's good explanation all in the backstory of Killer Croc there. And like I said, definitely a cool figure of what I prefer out of this 2-pack and the reason we got it. So very awesome for this Killer Croc figure. Well, there we have our Grim Knight and Killer Croc together. Of course, you can see the size difference and how much bigger Killer Croc is compared to the Grim Knight. So very cool to see that. So you can have that matchup there. And of course, with Batman using guns, it's, not surprisingly that he was able to take this Killer Croc out. But both of these look really cool and awesome to get them in a 2-pack of the McFarlane Collector Edition figures. So let me know what you thought of the two down in the comments. And if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.